Your vote counts, unless, of course, it doesn't. I've been standing here saying this in this very same studio since the year 2000, since Gore lost. You're watching dvtv Live. My name is Rich.
I'm Jeannie.
This is Jeannie. We are live on the, what is it, the 8th of November?
Yes.
2018.
Yes.
This is the 311th day of 2018. Mm-hmm. So far, there have been 304 mass shootings in the United States. Mass shooting is constituted as shooting more than 4 people in a public place. 304 of them this year. The one in the bar last night
in
was
Thousand Oaks, California.
Thousand Oaks, California. They shot up a bunch. This guy shot up a bunch of college students
White guy.
with a handgun.
Yeah.
That was the sixth this month, and it's
Homegrown
only the
terrorists.
8th. But let's talk about the election first.
Did you vote?
Of course, I voted.
I
yes.
voted. Very uneventful.
I've been very, very reluctant to talk about what I'm going to talk about tonight. How much the electoral system, not the electoral college, I got complaints about that. You've heard them before, but about how the electoral system in this state, in this country, is really fucked. But I didn't want to discourage. I didn't say anything till now, because I didn't want to discourage anybody from voting. Now, the good news is Democrats did really well. They took over the House, and now the Republicans gained a couple of seats in the Senate, but they're on edge. It may, it's not 100% yet. There may be recounts with Kristen Sinema and Governor Bill Nelson, with Bill Nelson in Florida. May be subject to recounts. Let's see. A lot of funny business goes on in Florida, as it did in the year 2000, but funny business always happens in Florida. And Georgia. Georgia, oh my God. Well, first of all, you were asking me why it was such a big deal in Georgia.
Well,
yeah.
Nobody outside of like Atlanta news stations or Georgia news stations or like the Atlanta Daily Herald or whatever their paper is down there would really write about that or care. Those are the only types of media outlets that would care about that, right? Because we can't vote for Stacey Abrams or Brian Kemp.
Right.
It's only you have to physically live in Georgia.
Right.
So
but there was active voter suppression from Kemp, and a lot of funny business. For instance, a lot of the voting machines were delivered without the power cords. Okay, they delivered the voting machines. They were there at the precincts on time in the voting places. They were all set up, except no way to plug the bloody machines in.
And was it in like specific places like Savannah and certain part of
minority places,
like
places
Atlanta,
where black people live, and places where college students live?
Lovely.
Is that a big coincidence, or is it on purpose? Another thing that I just found out, 700 voting machines are still wrapped in plastic in a warehouse in Georgia. 700
Where'd you get that from?
Voting machines. It was reported widely today.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
gotcha.
I can't source AP
but
or.
I'm just wondering if she has a chance, and I'm not saying she doesn't, but there's 62,000 votes. That's kind of a lot.
That's kind of a lot, yeah.
Secretary of State Brian Kemp's people have said that there's only like 3,000 to count.
That's what he's saying.
That's what he's saying, so I don't know.
After he has declared himself, I'm the winner.
Oh, at least, he finally resigned.
And then he resigned as Secretary of State, in anticipation that he's going to ascend to the governor's seat.
I hope there's a runoff and he just doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
That'll be hilarious.
Now, this is one of my complaints. This is one of my complaints about the electoral system. Every state has different laws on voting. If there's a runoff, if it comes close, You know, for instance, Florida, it's one thing if it's 0.5%. If it's 0.5% close, they have an automatic recount. If it's closer than that, I think 0.25%, they have a hand-counted vote or recount, like they did in the year 2000 for the presidential election. Okay. Other issues in Georgia. Well, there were 4-hour lines in, again, minority and college precincts. There were 16-year-old machines not working, and there may have been 2 million purged ballots in Georgia.
Is that really
that all favors Kemp. Now,
no, I swear if the runoff happened when now he's resigned.
Now, I don't know if there's going to be a runoff. There may be a recount. There may not be. But again, like we were stuck with Trump and the decision of the Electoral College, most of these elections there is no recourse. Some states have runoffs, and you can have re-elections. Nationally, that doesn't happen. And in most states, I think there's not an option for a runoff.
We also have to realize that this race is confined to Georgia.
It's confined to Georgia.
It's confined to Georgia. Like anybody outside of Georgia really doesn't have much to say except for an opinion.
Right.
Because we can't do anything about it.
Opinion, and you know, a vote denied anywhere in the United States is horrible, and it does affect. You know, it does affect every state. If they can deny a vote in Georgia, who knows? They can deny a vote somewhere else.
Outside of Stacey Abrams' race or whoever she is, she just as a person comes off as more eloquent, well-spoken, and she doesn't have a stupid, retard-sounding Southern accent. You know what I mean?
Careful, you know.
But I mean, like Brian Kemp doesn't even sound eloquent. Even in his commercial, his first commercial that he put, so conservative, I got guns, and I'm gonna round them up myself, my criminal illegals. I was like, great, conspiracy to kidnapping.
Yes,
woo!
And that got him lots of votes.
Are people that dumb down there?
Yes.
I'm gonna blow up government spending, and it's like the worst special effect. I could do something. I can keyframe something way
he got
better
one of
than
his
that.
nephews or somebody to do that.
It's like the worst, and I was like, he takes a chainsaw and I'm gonna cut or whatever. I'm like,
well, let's compare Brian Kemp's credentials. He was an agriculture major at the University of Georgia versus Stacey Abrams. She's valedictorian, magna cum laude, undergrad, Yale Law School, a Truman Scholar, and I think she did 3 tours in Iraq. I'm not sure of that.
Oh, she's a soldier? I didn't even know she's a former.
I believe she's a veteran, So that's
they don't want somebody like that. She's like basically the Condoleezza Rice of Georgia.
They don't want anybody. You know, a lot of people in Georgia, you know, are outwardly racist. I don't mean to. You know, I'm sorry, Georgians, but you know, hey, there's a lot of people outwardly racist in New York and places like Staten Island. Let's talk about Staten Island. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, but I was about to say, I was like, her background matches like Condoleezza Rice's, right? Basically, didn't she go to one of those like Harvard Law, one of those like really highly
Trump didn't call her low IQ, but he called her unqualified.
He can't call her low IQ.
Yeah, and then again, the vice president said, well, you know, she had, you know, Stacey Abrams had all of her Hollywood friends, all of her rich Hollywood.
This is Georgia. That's what he said. This is Georgia. I was like, you're fucking stupid.
And like, okay, Vice President Pence, is he anybody to say anything about rich billionaire Hollywood friends when he's the vice president to Donald Trump?
Well, you know what though? Trump didn't say anything bad about Oprah. He couldn't.
Like, he knows.
It's like we were friends, but I don't really think so now.
He knows
but we were friends.
He knows hands off Oprah.
Leave Oprah alone. Like,
leave Oprah alone. It's too dangerous to talk about Oprah.
Yeah, he's just like, we used to be friends. She used to come down to like my Mar-a-Lago and.
Yeah.
It just really, and Jim Acosta got accosted.
Jim Acosta got accosted by that White House aide. Now, this is something that has really pissed me off. Why does CNN, why does MSNBC? I remember years ago, Giuliani, he barred a reporter from his City Hall press conferences. When he barred a reporter, the next day, nobody was at the press conference. All of New York press boycotted his press
What
conference.
station was it from?
I don't know. I can't remember
Or
what
was New York
station,
one?
but
Yeah.
he barred one reporter. And the press pool in New York decided, no, you can't do that. And as a consequence, the next day, Giuliani addressed an empty room during his press conference. I think WNYC was there. You know, the official city station was
Yeah.
there. And that's it. And he never tried to never tried to bar a reporter after that. Why doesn't this happen? Why do we go through? Why does CNN and the other news organizations go through loops, jump through hoops to cover Trump? He doesn't answer any questions anyway. And I don't see why they give him so much airtime. They'll cut to him going live. They do it less than they don't carry
Yeah.
every rally. They used to do that, both CNN
Now
and
they
MSNBC.
stopped.
Now
Yeah.
they stopped because they heard from viewers, and a lot of their viewers said,
Who
"You're
cares
not
about him
Fox
going to
News.
like Montana or Wyoming for the umpteenth time?
We turn it off
Yeah.
when." So I hope CNN, I hope MSNBC, and the other news organizations cut back on the coverage of every belch, every fart, everything that Trump says.
I just feel bad for Jim Acosta. He's going to have to be restructured somewhere else into CNN. You know what I mean?
Hey, I don't think that ban is permanent, but
He's gonna be
he's a big
restructured,
boy.
yeah.
He can take care of himself. And hey, people were saying, a couple of people I talked to was, oh, well, Jim Acosta is a dick. That may well be so, but if he's barred from the White House for being a dick, why is Trump there? Why is Pence there? Why is Trump Jr. there? Why is Steve Miller there?
exactly.
Hey, but I don't, I'm so in favor of the news organization.
okay.
If he says something, they can put the text on screen. They don't have to
Exactly.
carry him. They're under no obligation to carry every bloody word that Trump says. And most of what he says is nonsense and lies anyway.
He goes off script.
And he goes off script. And when he's on script, he's lying. When he's off
You
script,
could
he's
tell
worse.
when he's on script.
Yeah.
You could so tell. He's like, that was terrible, and it's like, when he's off script, he's animated. He's like, Trump.
Yeah.
Trump,
Well,
Trump.
I mean, he was. I didn't see this whole news conference because I have to work. But he was like pretty, and he was telling people to sit down. The purpose of a press conference is to come out and answer questions from the press. If he can't take it, he's unqualified to be president. But we all knew that
We all knew
anyway.
that.
Yeah. So that in itself is not
Can I
news.
ask you something?
Yes.
What do you think about Staten Island? Are you proud?
Yay, Staten Island, because they defeated Donovan and they elected Max Rose,
But
right?
you know what he put him over? Put them
What?
over? That little part of Bay Ridge.
Oh, yes, the little
That
part of Bay
little
Ridge.
part-
Well, it could be, yeah. Now,
That's
I
what
said
made
before,
him
and-
over.
If we have any viewers in Bay Ridge, they're probably going to write me nasty letters and threats, but Bay Ridge is almost attached to Staten Island. It's almost
because
a
of
part
that
of
bridge,
Staten
but a
Island.
lot of that
Yeah.
area, that's what it was like in Staten Island alone, which
Yeah.
is most of it, was like 600.
Right, yeah.
Separated by like hundreds of votes. A very,
Right,
very
yeah.
small number. Because there's
Yeah.
at least maybe the voting population in Staten Island, I would say, is probably about 200,000, I'm guessing. Like if they have
something like
500,000
that, yeah.
people there, I guess.
Yeah.
But, basically it was a few votes. But you know what? Max Rose had to fight every single to the end.
Right.
Ocasio-Cortez,
Oh,
after the primary, she's just like,
yeah.
I'm coasting.
Now, months ago, at the time of the primary, Jean reported on her opponent, who is
Joe Pappas.
Joe Pappas, right? And how he didn't have a website. He didn't seem like a very substantial candidate.
No, he was just like, I don't even know why the Republican Party just put him on the ballot. I guess it just didn't give a shit.
Well, the Republican Party
They didn't even
tried
give
to
her a
find out.
fight.
The Republican Party tried to find out. They had a meeting with Pappas a week or so before the election, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, "What's up? Do you have a website?" Because he had promised to get a website.
Oh my
The
God.
most basic thing. Do you have a website? Do you have a social media presence? And he's like, no. You have a website? No. And they asked him, how much money do you have in your war chest? And he's like, well, I have $1,500 in a bank account, but I can't touch it because my wife is suing me for $1.5 million.
Oh yeah, he has these long videos about his divorce, and on top of it, like he has really bad reviews on ratemyprofessor.com.
Yeah, yeah.
St. John's University economics professor. Kids don't like him.
Yeah, yeah.
Kids don't like him.
Well.
So he's just kind of that's his presence on the internet. You just Google Joe Pappas.
Who picked him to run? Who
I
picked
mean,
him
that's
as a
like
winner?
they couldn't even get a Nicole Militakis type to go head to head or make it like a real race. So it's like all she had to do after she beat Joe Crowley, she's just like coasted.
Coasted, yeah.
Because she had this like huge.
And she became the youngest person
but it's
to be in
amazing,
Congress.
like how
God bless her.
No, Max Rose had to fight.
Yeah.
From primary to in the race,
Right.
and then she's just like.
Well, no, you have to give her credit because she won the primary by
she
going
worked hard,
door to door.
No, she won the primary, but after the primary, it was all coasting for her.
And she won the primary because people could relate to her and her experience.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it's just the way they had the way they had to run the races was just like completely different. I mean it in the nicest way. I don't mean it in a mean way.
Yeah, the Republican candidates in New York are sometimes a joke. I saw
that was like the biggest joke ever.
I saw a few of them in this studio in a show I can't remember the name of, but we had. I don't know. I'm not going to mention her name because I can't remember her name. She was running against Danny O'Donnell for state assembly, right? And I knew the punchline or the zinger that she was waiting to put out. Well, and Danny O'Donnell is Rosie O'Donnell's brother. And she does have an accent. I'm not sure where she's from, but she was sitting here, and at one point she said, and Danny O'Donnell is not attacking her. He's just sitting there, very calm, going over the points, debating her in a very, in a very low-key way. And she looks at him and she says, "Oh, you bully just like your sister." I'm not accurate with her accent, but a lot of the Republican candidates were in New York.
Like
they know they don't have a chance, so they put up a bunch of losers, and it turned out they were a bunch of losers.
Mark Molinaro got 30% of the vote, or 30.
I know some people who voted for him because they don't like Cuomo so much. They're Democrats, they're left-wingers, but they hate Cuomo so much they just pulled the lever for Molinaro. I voted right down the Democrat line. I was lazy, but I knew there were no Republicans. Did you vote for
Gillibrand and Carolyn Maloney too?
Everybody on the Republican line. The only one I felt. Excuse me, we're doing a show up here. The only one I felt good about voting for was Gerald Nadler, who is now, as a result,
What's Gerald Nadler? I voted for Carolyn Maloney.
You couldn't vote for Gerald Nadler because not your district. He's Upper West Side in Brooklyn. Of course, the districts are all drawn all over the place.
So wait a minute,
now,
how come I didn't get to vote for anybody cool?
Well,
I got to vote for super incumbent as all incumbent people.
Yeah.
And it was
hey,
nothing
most of these people
fun.
were incumbents anyway.
Super incumbent, who's really gonna chase Cuomo? He's as blue blood in New York as the Kennedys in Massachusetts at this point in life.
Well,
he's second generation.
You could have voted for Cynthia in the primaries.
I'm a registered Democrat.
You got to register a Democrat,
Apparently,
which is another.
I have to put in another voter registration form, and I don't even know where to find that. You have to get an official one. You can't just get one off the internet and mail it in.
New York has some of the most
I don't even know.
It has some of the most it's one of the most liberal states, but it has some of the most backwards voting laws in the country. I don't know about the country, but for a liberal state, we don't have good voting laws. We don't have advanced voting. You have to vote on that day. You have to register long before, and you have to be on the.
When I move, I don't even know, where I could get another voter registration thing?
Well, by the time you moved, it was too late anyway because you had to have registered like a year before to change parties.
Once I move into, we all know I'm trying to buy property right now in life.
Right.
When I move, I'm gonna have to find a way to vote in that new area again, and I'm still wondering, how do I do that?
Okay, there's websites.
Do I have to go to Varick Street and shit?
No,
and
there's
get
websites to tell you how to do that.
Oh,
It's not.
okay.
We're not that backwards in New York State.
Okay.
But as I said, there's no advance voting, and you have to register long before, like almost a year before. And as proof of that, Kushner and the daughter, what's the daughter's name? I'm blanking on her.
Ivanka.
Kushner and Ivanka went to vote for Daddy in the primaries, and they found out they couldn't because they weren't registered Republicans.
Oh.
Because they didn't realize that the voting deadline, the deadline to be in that party is long before. It's like a year before.
But funny.
It's embarrassing but funny, but it should not be that way. Anyway, Nadler is the new House Judiciary Committee chair. Maxine Waters is the new Financial Services Committee chair. And of course, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, commonly referred to as the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff. The other guy from California is out. So come January, the committee the Intelligence Committee is going to be run by a Democrat, which is a very good thing.
And guess who's coming back?
Who?
The flaming liberal San Francisco. Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, Nancy
Speaker.
Pelosi. Who's not going to serve out a full term. She is, I was shocked
What do
to
you
see.
mean?
She's already announced that she's going to serve out a full term, but she's not going to, she said she's not going to remain Speaker of the House.
Why?
Well, I don't know.
Why?
She is 78 years old. Okay?
Yeah, but Newt Gingrich is old as fuck.
I know, Newt Gingrich. They're all old, yeah. I think she's hearing that most Democrats want younger blood in
Who are they going to put in, Ocasio?
Hey, I don't know. Not that young. Not that young. But,
No offense to her.
But speaking of the Judiciary and the Intelligence Committee, in cities across the nation tonight, there are people in the streets because the Keebler elf was fired. Sessions got fired. He said he resigned, but in his resignation letter,
Per request,
yeah,
of the president.
And the resignation letter was not dated. Means he had it in his drawer for a long time. He knew it was coming down. Hey, we all knew that it was coming down. Now, the guy who's replacing him as the temporary or the acting Attorney General.
It's not Rod.
No, which it should be.
Not Rod.
Okay.
Should
now
be
this
Rod,
guy.
but it's not Rod.
Yeah. This guy is
God. Oh God.
Whitaker. Okay. First of all, he settled
you seen his tweets?
6 months ago. Yeah. Well, he's been on Fox News. I mean, he's mainly been a pundit.
He's just a pundit. That's
and
all.
He's been explaining how, if Trump fires the Attorney General, how the next Attorney General could shut down the Mueller investigation. That's why
they're not
Trump.
They're not going to shut it down. They're just going to slash the budget.
Yeah, that's
until
what
it's so nil.
Yeah.
That's how they shut it down.
But guess what?
What?
Congress, the House of Representatives, can rehire even if Mueller gets fired, the House of Representatives can hire him once again. Okay,
Well,
so that's why Trump is. The other reason is that any day now, according to rumor, according to some sources, any day now, Trump Jr. is going to get indicted.
Ooh.
Yeah. Any day, maybe
Chuck and Nancy.
Maybe
Chuck
Friday.
And Nancy.
Maybe Friday. This guy Whitaker.
He's got to play nice
What a
with
joker.
Chuck. He's got to play nice with Chuck and Nancy now.
Yeah. He doesn't play nice with anybody.
Yeah.
This guy Whitaker, he's been hawking like weird products on the internet. 6 months ago, he settled a $26 million. He settled a lawsuit for consumer fraud for $26 million. Who does that sound like?
President Trump.
President Trump on the Trump University settlement,
Should've
which
never
brings
been
us
president.
to our next point. It is rumored, a guy at CBS News is reporting this, that the permanent Attorney General to be appointed after Whitaker is going to be Pam Bondi, the Attorney General.
She's from Florida.
From Florida.
Our little friend from Florida.
So, in reference to Trump University, the reason you might remember Ms. Bondi is that she decided not to pursue a lawsuit, a multi-state lawsuit against Trump University.
Because he was a sitting president.
Well, no, that's not why. I think this happened even before the election.
Okay.
Even before the election, okay? She decided not to pursue that lawsuit, even though many people in Florida who were silly enough to register for Trump University hand over their $25,000 or $35,000 for a useless piece of paper from this fraudulent university. Yeah. So she decided not to join that lawsuit after she got a $25,000 contribution from Trump, for a campaign contribution from Trump. Okay?
Wow.
Her reward she may be the next Attorney General of the United States. If she can pass muster.
I don't think so.
Yeah, if she can pass muster in the House of Representatives. Now this guy, there's all kinds of talk now, and I am no way a legal expert, and this, great legal minds are wrestling with this now. Does he have the right to appoint Whitaker? But right now, he is the acting Attorney General. So we'll see what happens to that. But across the nation, people have taken to the streets in all 50 states, as was planned for months. People have been saying this. Demonstrations happened the day after Sessions gets fired. No love for Sessions, but at least Sessions recused himself. And of course, that's the reason why Trump...
Because he's a weak-minded individual.
Yeah, according to Trump. And that's the reason why Sessions, that Trump fired
he's
Sessions.
Smart.
Yeah.
That keyword
I didn't say he was
isn't
dumb,
that,
but
yeah.
I didn't say he was dumb, but he's definitely a racist. And the good news, the frosting on this cake is that for the first time in 26 years, he is not in public office.
Woohoo!
So, okay, Gillum, there may be a recount in Florida too. A lot of funny business in Florida.
Oh yeah, he's the former mayor of Tallahassee.
Right, yeah. He gave a very graceful concession speech. Okay, early on, before any of the networks declared that the other guy was the winner, but it still may be close enough. They're still counting votes in Florida, and Kristen also for Nelson, for Bill Nelson for Senate, and also Kristen Sinema. There may be two more Democratic senators, which will mean the Republicans have gained a grand total of one senator in this election. Not a great day for the Republicans. We'll be back next week. Good night.
Good news.
Good news.